This is the latest edition of News at 10 on TV3, also live on DSTV channel 279. My name is Grace Hamwa. Sorry, first let's take a look at the news highlights for the day. 3 Media General journalists picked for awards in this year's Ghana Journalists Association Awards. Portia Gabo and Stanley Bleu grabbed an award each, while Peter Kwaw Adato received 2 for their life-changing stories in 2017. Away from that, the chiefs and people of the proposed OT region aggrieved groups from the Southern Volta to seek legal redress if they feel cheated by the process in creating the new region. Acting Paramount Chief of Buem Traditional Area and Nifahene of Buem, Nana Oprao Ikuamwa VIII, insists the creation of new regions is a constitutional mandate vested in the hands of the President. Now, the Pandai District Chief Executive Emmanuel Tata Blata has commended TV3 for using its platform to highlight some of the challenges in the education and health sectors. The extensive news coverage of some districts in the northern region, he noted, has resulted in stakeholders' resolve to address the problems. Elsewhere on the international front, the names of the 11 people killed in Saturday's attack in a synagogue in Pittsburgh have been released, with the oldest aged 97. 2 brothers and a husband and wife were among those killed. 6 people were injured, including 4 policemen. The ages of the 11 victims range from 54 to 97. The suspect, Robert Bowers, 46, is in custody and faces 29 criminal counts in what is thought to be the worst anti-Semitic attack in recent U.S. history. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Grace Hamwa. Sorry, let's go to our first story tonight. 3 Media General journalists have picked awards in this year's Ghana Journalists Association GJA Awards. Portia Gabo and Stanley Bleu grabbed an award each, while Peter Kwaw Adato received 2 for their life-changing stories in 2017.
The theme for this year's event was State of Investigative Journalism, Boundaries of Privacy and Borders of Public Interest. Anchor and multiple award-winning journalist Portia Gabo received the Best Environmental Reporting Award in the electronic category with a 2017 story which highlighted the effects of plastic waste in the country.
Plastic waste menace in this country would simply not go away. Here at Tashi Sangwena, it looks as if this place is the final resting place of most plastics that we consume. Instead of tourists coming here to enjoy the scenery, they are confronted and greeted with this.
For his story on commercial sex workers at the Kwame Nkrumah interchange in Accra, which got city authorities to act, Stanley Bleu was adjudged the Best Investigative Journalist for 2017.
The GJA awards you the Best Investigative Reporter.
This goes to Stanley Bleu of TV3.
Peter Kwaw Adato was adjudged the Best Journalist in Education Reporting in Television category and the overall Best Journalist in the Electronic category. His awards were the results of 2 exceptional stories, one about a blind and deaf student who defied all odds to get education, and the other about smuggled expired sardines into the country. But for his expose, the expired sardines, which were in a rotten stage, would have ended up at the various markets. The awards marked another milestone for the Media General Group, the parent company of TV3, 3FM, Onua FM, 3News.com, Connect FM, Akuma FM and Adisa Productions, which recently swept 6 awards in the Radio and Television Personality Awards. Guest Speaker Chief Justice Sophia Kofo admonished the media to be circumspect in drawing the line between privacy and a quest to protect the public.
When we're dealing with privacy and the public interest must never take away privacy, and privacy must never override public interest. And it's a very, very delicate balance, and it takes a lot of wisdom and a lot of self-introspection. It also takes a lot of research and a lot of self-information when you are a media practitioner, so as you don't fall foul.
Information Minister Designate Kojo Oponkroma called on media managers to place premium on the welfare of his workers.
The opening up of the media landscape in Ghana has been characterized by the growth of media houses with various interests. The expansion and the improvement in the sector, however, has not translated into a corresponding improvement in the welfare and conditions of service of a lot of media practitioners. Practitioners are some of the least paid professionals in Ghanaian industry today, and that, I'm sure you'll agree with me, is not good enough.
City FM's Bernard Avle was adjudged the 2017 Journalist of the Year. More than 30 journalists were awarded at the event, while persons who contributed to the growth of the media industry were offered honorary membership of the Ghana Journalists Association.
And we congratulate the awards winners and wish them all the best. Let's do some other stories now. Former Minister of Transport and Communications, Felix Owusu-Agyapong, has called for more local content as the country continues to build its cybersecurity infrastructure. He maintained it was crucial to pay attention to local content when dealing with issues of national security. The former Transport and Communications Minister under the Kufuor administration, Felix Owusu-Agyapong, was contributing to a panel discussion on the perspective of former Ministers of Communications on Ghana's cybersecurity as part of Ghana's Cybersecurity Awareness Month 2018. He cautioned the takeover of the country's cybersecurity infrastructure by foreigners.
As part of our own protection into this cyberspace, whilst you are talking about these big names, to what extent are you involving your own nationals in ensuring that their loyalty to the country is great? And what we need to do is how to help them. That nationality is very important in security matters. Allegiance to one country and society is always important when it comes to these matters.
Professor Benjamin Agrin-Tim, who also worked for former President Kufuor as a communications minister, explained the success of the country's cybersecurity infrastructure hinges on ICT.
One important area is the development of manpower. And I can also add that let us put our emphasis on the development of our youth in this area.
A former Minister of Communications under Professor Mills and Mahama administrations, Haruna Idrisu, urged politicians to allow technocrats work.
This is a sector that Ghana is not found one in terms of rich resources and expertise. We do have men and women with the competence and skills in communication. What the politicians need to do is to use the technical persons well and stay out of technical matters and concentrate on policy issues that achieve the visions of the presidents that we serve.
Edward Omane-Boama, who also served under John Mahama, noted institutional rivalry in the country has been a challenge to development.
Working as people who have decided to form a consortium of the willing to move the cybersecurity agenda of this nation forward. And that honorable minister will require a lot of intersectoral collaboration. If the health sector has a sectorial CSET, if other sectors have it, they must feed into the NSET.
Now, veteran musician and a sanitation ambassador Akosua Ejapong has proposed 1,200 cedis fine and 3 months incarceration for sanitation offenders. According to her, there's no way the president's vision for a cleaner Accra could be achieved without sanctioning sanitation offenders.
Akosua Ejapong made these observations when she joined the Wejagbawe Municipal Assembly to undertake cleanup at the Malam interchange.
I remember we came to clean this part of the interchange, and then when somebody was caught, the person was sent to court. The person was fined 1,200 Ghana cedis, and the person's family had to pay. Otherwise, the person would be in for 3 months imprisonment. So I think those things will help.
Participants included staff of the assembly, residents, and traders. The exercise formed part of a sensitization program to promote Sustainable Development Goal 6.
We are making sure that Wejagbawe Municipal becomes one of the best when it comes to sanitation.
The Member of Parliament for Wejagbawe, Tinana Ayele Mensah, wants such exercise sustained.
You arrest somebody and you don't take a bribe. You make sure the law deals with the person will not do it again. So when you also motivate your people that are going to do the arrest, when they do the arrest, and people see, hey, these people are serious, they are arresting us, I think this thing will stop.
Veteran musician and a sanitation ambassador Akosua Ejapong suggested sanctions against offenders.
Like when you're seen throwing baller away or just throwing something from your car, there should be a fine.
President Akufo-Addo wants to see Accra become the cleanest city in Africa by 2020.
Away from the environment, let's talk education, because some primary schools in Mion districts of the northern region require furniture as pupils sit on the bare floor to study. The problem is compounded with the absence of the school feeding program.
Lack of furniture in schools in parts of northern region is common. The Shambo Islamic Primary School in the Mion district lacks furniture and pupils sit on the floor to study. A situation teachers say affects academic work.
Our big challenge is the furniture situation and that of a classroom, the infrastructure. Because imagine 9,600 children in a class, for one teacher to manage them is very, very difficult for one teacher to manage them.
But the DCE, Mohammed Hashim, has an overall vision to improve on the quality of education in the district. He is striving hard to fix key challenges within the education sector.
We are spending substantial amount of our common fund in providing furniture. This year alone, we have already provided 500, and we are yet to add another 500 before the year ends. All of it was for primary and GSS. So maybe the next 500 we will consider making some for the KG and the nursery.
The situation is same at Bundalana and Kanimo primary schools. Another pressing need is the school feeding program in schools. Out of 75 primary schools in the district, 17 are on the school feeding program.
Feeding, honestly, most of the children are actually underfed. And whenever they come, there's sometimes break, go, they will never come. And for that matter, we will appeal to our honorable DCE to do something for that effect.
It was a timely intervention on Monday midday when district officials visited the Shambu school with some goodies. The teachers are most grateful to government and hoping that most schools will be on the school feeding program.
NEWSAT10 is back after this break. Don't go away. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching this edition of News at 10 on TV3, which is also live on DSTV channel 279. Let's do some politics now. And Chairman for the Election Committee of the National Democratic Congress, Kofi Atto, says the party will involve all members, including those at grassroots, in order to win the 2020 general elections. He made the observation after the National Women and Youth Conference at Gomoafete in the Central Region.
It has been very competitive. It has been very well organized. And I think the comportment of our delegates have been very excellent. This is one of the most successful conferences that we have organized. And I know that the results actually reflect the feeling of the people on the ground. I'm only wishing that they will work together for Victory 2020. We have learned a lot here, and we'll apply it to the November 17th. From Wednesday, we'll start meeting again. And you know, that will even be more successful than this one. There we are expecting about 9,000 delegates to vote and about another 5,000 people as observers. So we are getting ready for about 15,000 people at the pavilion in Trade Fair.
He thanked delegates and supporters for the successful conference.
We always improve Ghana when we come. When we take loans, we do infrastructure, we do social activities. People have taken loans and up to now we don't know what they have done with it. So when we get back to power in 2020, we would apply our manifesto that we are putting together now.
Meanwhile, newly elected officers at the just-ended National Women and Youth Conference of the NDC say they are going to team up with their members to bring on board strategies that will win them the 2020 general elections. They spoke with my colleague Lucy Ayambila after the conference at Goma Fete in the Central Region.
What I'm going to bring on board is a leadership that will encourage, a leadership that will move, a leadership that will work with a team, that will mobilize the grassroots with the right information, with a coordinated program for Victory 2020.
We have a number of things in stock for the party. As new leadership, we will sit down as a team and decide what exactly we want to do with the youth wing. And I believe that we will propel a youth wing or will lead a youth wing that will bring the NDC back to power. But I can tell you that the NDC youth wing will be strategic, effective and radical. That I can promise you.
We formulated a program called the Pablo Project, premised on 5 thematic areas: decentralization of the youth wing, building a youth welfare system, a youth empowerment, and then most importantly, a social democratic center, and what I call the team drive. These are things I'm bringing on board to make the NDC youth wing work again. And I can assure the good people of this country, they will get effective representation at the youth wing.
I'm promising my women's wing that we will forge unity, we will make sure that we will come together, work, mobilize, and make sure that 2020 is ours.
Away from the quarters of the NDC, a climate change expert, Professor Kojo Owusu, says with 60% of the working population deriving income from ventures that are weather-related, it's essential we discuss the topic. The implementation of the National Climate Change Adaptation Strategy will therefore enhance the country's development by strengthening its adaptive capacity and building resilience of the society and ecosystems. A climate change expert, Professor Kojo Owusu, made the call at a breakfast meeting organized by the Institute of Green Growth Solutions, Konrad Adenauer Foundation, and the Institute of Environmental Assessment. Professor Kojo Owusu noted Ghana can only respond to climate change through adaptation and mitigation measures. He indicated climate change has a huge impact on the country's economy because it is weather and natural resource dependent.
Ghana still depends a lot on climate-sensitive sectors. Agriculture not only is helping us with finances in terms of foreign exchange earning, cocoa syndication comes in and our economy is doing well in terms of our currency and the rest. But if you don't have the cocoa because of climate change, then what happens? So we need to look at our developmental pathways, because if we don't tackle the climate change issue, even the gains we have made could be weakened or reversed.
Professor Kojo Owusu stated that there are adequate policies and plans, yet all the efforts come across as lacking coordination and local participation. A research fellow at the Institute of Green Growth Solutions, Dr. Edward Nuno, observed climate change is impeding attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals.
It calls for integration, or it calls for mainstreaming these engagement processes into the community's culture, into individuals' lifestyle, so that we can actually get the adaptation effort or processes well informed within the communities and then the general public.
Deputy Chief Disaster Control Officer Frank Agri underscored the role of the National Disaster Management Organization NADMO in the country's attempt to build a climate-resilient future. The operational period of the National Climate Change Adaptation Strategy, which is from 2010 to 2020, intends, among other things, to ensure a consistent, comprehensive and targeted approach to increasing climate resilience and decreasing vulnerability and deepening public awareness. Obviously, the discussion around climate change is one that is not ending anytime soon. But for us here at TV3, that's how we end this edition of the latest edition of News at 10. My name is Grace Hamwasari. Many thanks for joining us. Good night.